Good afternoon. Hi, everyone. My name is Carla Metzdorf. I am a certified health and life coach that works with moms to overcome anxiety, and I'm also admin to the group Overcoming Anxiety for Stressed Out Moms Who've Had Enough. I am coming on today to discuss with you 8 things that you can do that actually 8 things that you can stop doing, that I want you to stop doing so that you can overcome anxiety. So when I first posted about this live, I said there were 6 things, but you know what? As the week went on, I came up with 2 more. And as I do the live, who knows? I might think of more. But I really was thinking of, the last couple weeks, I've been talking about peace, having freedom, and now I want to really help you to understand if you would just do these things, maybe you get to overcome anxiety. So, without further ado, let's go to number 1. When I say stop, I just mean a change of behavior. And as you come on, ladies, make sure you say hello. I'm going to see if I can see myself in the group. Say hi. It's so nice to have you on. I don't have anyone saying hi yet, but I'm glad to have you here. And we're going to talk about the things that you need to do to just to stop doing so that you finally overcome anxiety. So number 1, let's get right to it, okay? Number 1 is to stop fighting the anxiety, okay? Stop fighting the thoughts and the feelings that come along with anxiety. When we feel anxious, okay? Now, anxiety is your stress response. It's uncertainty. So what that does is that sets off the central nervous system. You go into fight or flight. And what we start doing is feeling symptoms, and it affects our way of thinking, right? Well, we don't like those thoughts. We don't like how we feel. So we fight it. Instead of accepting those thoughts and feelings, we fight the thoughts and feelings. We don't want them to be there. But the more you do that, okay, the more you fight what you feel and what you think, the more it's going to persist. If that makes sense, let me know, ladies. Say hi. Let me know as I talk if everything's making sense. Hey, hi, January, Vanessa. How are you? Thanks for saying hello. Let me know, give me a 1 or say yes, that I'm making sense so far, to stop fighting and that you understand why it's important to stop fighting those thoughts and feelings. It sure does, great Vanessa. As you fight, what you're doing is you're telling the brain something's wrong. Hey, Shanika, you're telling the brain that you need to be protected. Something is wrong. So you're going to stay in that fight or flight, and it's going to persist. Stop fighting. Start accepting those thoughts and feelings, because they're just going to grow. They're going to get more intense, and they're going to keep coming on, and unless you stop fighting. Number 2, okay? Stop thinking of anxiety as the enemy. I mean, we hate anxiety. I get it. I mean, anxiety has taken over your life. Because of anxiety, you're not living the way you used to be. You used to be carefree. You used to laugh a lot and used to go out a lot. And now anxiety has totally limited what you do, and you're not who you want to be. And you just can't stand it. When am I going to be normal again, right? Do you guys agree? Do you ladies agree with me? Is this what goes through your mind? So when you think of anxiety as this disorder, this disease that took over my life, okay? That's how you stay stuck, all right? So stop thinking of anxiety as an enemy, because really anxiety is there because it is a stress response. It's how you are responding. So when you understand, okay, why anxiety comes about, like how anxiety is formed and why you are struggling with it, okay, you understand it's there because of how you're responding. And if you're going to continue to be like, I don't like anxiety, I'm afraid of it, I hate it, when's it going to go away? It would be quicker if you would accept anxiety for what it is. It is my response to stress. I have control of how I respond. So if I change my response, I can change how I feel and what's going through my mind, and this anxiety would just diffuse and go away. It's only there because you're fighting and because of what you're telling yourself about anxiety. So the next thing would be to stop that negative self-talk, because you are talking to yourself in a way that's keeping you in that anxiety cycle. So I've had several moms over the years say to me, but I'm a very positive person and I don't understand why I have this anxiety. And then as I'm talking with them, they use very negative words. Now you may see yourself as very positive, but it's very hard to struggle with anxiety with a very positive mindset. So if your words are things like, I hate this, when is this going to go away? I can't cope, I can't deal. You know, anytime you're taking away your power, you're being negative. You're giving anxiety all the power. You keep telling yourself, this is hard. I'm never going to overcome this. You're programming your mind, the brain, you know, it's listening to everything you say. The mind and the brain work together, right? The brain is the physical part of it, okay? Its purpose is to help you survive. But if you keep telling yourself over and over, I can't do this, I can't cope, I can't deal, I'm never going to overcome this, this is too hard, I'm too old, I'm too, like, whatever you're telling yourself, it's listening and it will protect you. So if you're telling yourself it's hard, every time you feel you're doing something and it's hard, it's going to send more of the fight and flight stress hormones into your body. Making sense, ladies, so far, everything that I'm saying? Can you give me a 2 or say yes if you're on board with me? Okay? So, another thing that we can, or you can stop doing, right, is it's what you're focused on. Stop focusing on the problem. See, anxiety comes about because we have stress in life. Thank you for the yeses and amen. Yes, absolutely. Okay, we have stress. We have events that occur and we give it meaning, right? Now, if that event that happens is something that sets us off, it triggers us, it brings on a negative emotion like anxiety, or let's say even sadness or anger, right? We tend to focus on our problem and we'll keep our focus on the problem because that's the way our minds go. We are programmed to be negative. And we need to, it's necessary for us to retrain the brain to focus on the positives. If you can get really good at finding the good in the negative, you are going in a great direction to reprogram your mind. That's why every Saturday I ask you what went well this week, because I want to get your mind there. I want you to think about this. Think about what you did today. Let's say, even if you had a crappy day, even if you spent the whole day anxious, find something that you feel blessed about. Find something that you're grateful for. Find out like what went well for you. I know that you can find something. And I understand you might be in a lot of pain and you're like, nothing. I'm telling you there's nothing. I'm telling you there is. Because even if you're taking a breath, okay, and that's all you could think of, you're blessed. Because there's somebody who didn't wake up this morning, okay? Focus on not the problem. You keep your focus on the problem, it's going to keep you in the anxiety cycle because you're continuously telling the brain, okay, the central nervous system, something is wrong. And it's going to send out those chemicals into your body and you stay in fight or flight. So stop talking negatively and start trying to focus not so much on the problem, but more on the solution. And the solution, ladies, to overcome anxiety, I mean, I can give it to you. I'm not giving it to you. It's not like this is a secret, okay? The biggest solution is to be different, to respond differently, because anxiety is a stress response, okay? Also, stop anticipating the future, because anxiety is all about future, right? So what becomes necessary is living more present. Anxiety is, can I cope? Will I be able to cope? Anxiety is uncertainty, right? Uncertainty is future-based. You're uncertain about what is to come. Can I cope? Can I deal? So, if you are anticipating it negatively, it's going to make you anxious. But when you get present and you stay in that present time, all you're dealing with is the present time. It's all you have. Okay? What do you have to do in the present time to cope, to deal? You're only anxious because you have uncertainty about the future or about whatever it is you're dealing with. Even if you're dealing with something, let's say, bad or negative or hurtful in the present time, okay? You're still going to have anxiety. Why? Because you have uncertainty about how am I going to progress with this? How am I going to cope with this? How am I going to deal with this? I know I healed and evolved. Why? Because even in my most horrible moments, I was still able to find something good. So I was still able to stay present and rejoice in the present time. When I lost both my parents, with my dad, it was a little hard because it was the first parent I lost. The second parent, I had to find more acceptance. And I remember going to my mom's funeral and feeling, believe it or not, a sense of peace. I mean, I was distraught. But there was a voice in my head that said, Carla, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. And I don't know. It was just like, I stayed present. What am I going to do now? How am I going to get through this? I just knew that no matter what, things were going to work out. I'm going to be okay. So, even in the present time when things are not going well, you can find things to focus on to talk to yourself different, to stop anticipating that future, and stay present and rejoice in that present moment. So what comes next, and I don't know what I'm on. I think I'm on like 5 or 6. I don't know. I don't know if anyone's counting. But thanks, Vanessa. God bless. You're welcome. Oh, you're blessing one another. I love it. And thank you for your help call. Oh, thank you all. You're welcome. I mean, I love doing this. And ladies, I do these live trainings because these live trainings are helpful. I'm giving everything to you that you need to overcome anxiety. You know, and I hope that you're watching, and I hope that you continue to watch, and that you're going to my YouTube channel and you're watching all the live trainings there, because they are going to help. Okay, I'm not making this stuff up. It's backed by science. It's from my expertise. And I also, you know, I've grown really close to God, and between science and getting close to God, I overcame this stuff. I mean, anxiety. In other words, it has no power over me. None whatsoever. So stop avoiding. I know this is hard because what is anxiety? We avoid, right? Anxiety, there's a lot of avoidance. What are you avoiding, right? You can't get out of bed in the morning, or you can't leave the house, or you can't drive anywhere, or you do drive, but you have a lot of restrictions on how far and for how long. You can't attend functions or go on vacation. You can't get on a plane. You can't do your laundry and clean your house. You can't take a shower. Anxiety really gives a lot of avoidance behavior. And fear has a lot to do with that. It's fear. But what we got to get good at is facing the fears and doing it anyway. Do opposite of what the fear is telling you to do. And I know it's hard. I mean, I understand. I mean, a bunch of you probably, well, yeah, Carla, okay, easier said than done. I know. I totally know. But it's necessary, and that's always going to be my answer. Because as long as you remain fearful, okay, and you have the avoidance behavior, you're going to stay stuck. So stop avoiding and do opposite of what fear tells you to do. Little by little. I'm not saying to jump in with 2 feet, okay? So if you're having a fear of driving, I'm not saying, you know, if you haven't driven in 2 years to just jump in the car and drive and take a long trip. No, it's little by little. You need to take action. Action, okay, trumps fear. Action is what's going to get you results. You keep up this avoidance behavior, you're going to stay stuck. It's just the truth. And stop identifying with anxiety. I can't tell you how many of you are like, I am just an anxious mom. I'm always anxious. And you're constantly talking about your anxiety. Now with me, you know, like talking to me about it is fine because you're talking to a professional about how you're feeling. There's a difference between saying, I have anxiety, I'm working to overcome it, and saying, I am anxious. I am always anxious. Do you hear the difference? I am not a good sleeper. I can't sleep. I always have my heart racing. I always have panic attack. I always, you know, like your brain is listening. Your brain is listening. It's okay. I mean, you don't, I understand it's not believable to be like, oh, I never have anxiety. That's not what I want you to say. You recognize you have anxiety. I have anxiety, but I'm working on it. Every day I'm doing something to overcome this. You're not owning it. You're not making it that anxiety is who you are. It's just something you're going through, you're working on it, and you will overcome it. Does that make sense, ladies? Can you give me a 3 or say yes if that makes sense? Because I know a lot of you are identifying with anxiety. Anybody? Well, I'm just gonna keep moving on, but breaking your identification. Okay, Abby, great, thank you. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is stop making excuses. I mean, you know that you have anxiety, and you know that your anxiety is taking over your life. Some of you just have situational anxiety, and GAD, which the anxiety hasn't really taken over your life quite yet, right? And that's great. But as anxiety takes over your life, it becomes necessary to take steps to break free. Because if you don't, you get deeper and deeper into that anxiety cycle, and you stay in that cycle. And the longer you're in that cycle, it can be very hard to break if you don't know about it and how to do it. But thank God you belong to this group, and I'm always showing you how to do it. So, but if you make excuses like, yeah, I'm too old for this. I've been having anxiety. I'm 70, 80, even 60, 50. I've had anxiety since I was a child. I've gone to numerous professionals, and you're telling me I can overcome anxiety. Yes, I am. Okay? I don't care how old you are. I don't care how long you've had anxiety. You can still overcome anxiety. And what I'm going to say is that you haven't had the right information. You maybe haven't had the right support or the right accountability. And you haven't, these things I'm telling you to stop doing, you haven't been able to stop doing them, which is keeping you in the anxiety cycle. Because I'm telling you exactly how to break free. I mean, I already talked about peace and freedom and how to do that, but I'm really getting into like the things you if you do this, it's gonna go away. So stop telling yourself you're too old. I've been doing this too long. I'm too busy. Now, ladies, yes, you're a mom. You are busy. I know that. We all know that. Ladies, I get it. I mean, I don't know if you're married or you're single. You got a job, you don't have a job. You have 6 kids, you've got 1 kid. Or you're maybe, you have grandchildren, or it doesn't matter the situation, okay? The excuses are, I don't have time. I have said this over and over, and this is not my quote, okay? I forgot the woman's name, but it's so truthful. If you do not take time, okay, to do something about this anxiety, okay, I'm actually paraphrasing her quote and making it more about anxiety than I am about a sickness. If you don't take time for your wellness, right, you'll be forced to find time for your illness. So if you don't take the time to overcome anxiety, to understand it so you can overcome it, and take those actions to overcome it, you don't make that time, you're going to go deeper into the anxiety cycle. It's going to keep going and going. In order to see a change, you have to make a change. So there's the excuse of time. There's the excuse of age. I've been like this many, many, many years. And also, resources. I don't have the resources, which kind of means the money. And overcoming means I have to hire somebody. I don't have the money to do it. Okay, you know, it depends. I mean, how do I say that? So, there was a time, I mean, my anxiety was so bad, I went to God and I asked Him to take my life, okay? Bottom, I hit rock bottom. But I needed help, right? Now, I was never in the position that I did not have the funds, but I know some of you have some hardships with money. The thing is, where is the money going? What are you putting your priority? Where's that money going? Like, of course you have to eat. Of course you have to pay for your house, your bills. I mean, I don't want anyone to go hungry, for sure. But I'm just going to say a couple things and you'll understand. What about things like, you know, streaming services and your phone? And are you getting your nails done and your hair done and you're getting your lattes, and do you smoke? And these are the things that you're paying for each month that you're telling yourself, I need in order to, what, survive, feel good. That's the luxury in my life. But those things are not going to help you overcome anxiety. I always say, if you really want something, you will find the means to make it happen. So with that said, having the resources to overcome anxiety, that's another one. I'm trying to think of more excuses. There's a lot of excuses. I can't think of any right now, but I just need like 5 excuses. But ladies, you could come up with so many excuses. Oh, actually the one excuse that I want to say, I have been told that and it may be you, and I'm sorry if you're on with me and you gave me this excuse, okay? I have been told I can't work with you because I'm too anxious to work with you. Not even me personally, but I think they meant when I've been told when my anxiety calms down, I will call you. You know what that means? I'll never hear from you again. Because I'm an anxiety coach. My job is to help you with anxiety. If you can't work with me because you're anxious, who else can you work with? Unless, of course, you just don't want to work with me, then that's fine. But if you can't wait until you overcome your anxiety and you feel good to overcome anxiety, do it afraid. Do it not feeling good. I'm telling you what you're going to learn, at least from me, I can't speak for anybody else, is going to help you if you implement it. Like if you implement what I'm telling you in this live, you're going to get results. I got one more thing, and I think I reached 8. I had 6, I thought of 8, or maybe I went over 8. I'm not sure. And I might think of something else. Stop prolonging getting help, which is basically what I just talked about. Because that's an excuse that we use, right? You know, I'm going to do this myself. I'm going to just try overcoming anxiety myself. But you know what? That's great. I overcame anxiety myself because I went to so many professionals and all they wanted to do was medicate me. And I didn't want to be medicated. If the answer to, you know, being at a doctor was, the doctors were just like, you know, take the medication and you'll be fine. And if I went back and said, okay, it's not working, I still feel anxious, well, let's up your medication. Nobody, even like psychiatrists, I mean, the psychiatrist, that's their job to medicate you, but therapists, counselors, I've been to them all, and no one really had any solution. You know, it's like they couldn't tell me exactly what it was I was experiencing and why. And that frustrated me. So that's why when I went into practice, and I became a coach, I took the things I did not like when I went to professionals, and I made sure that I included that when I have a client. So getting help, ladies, if anxiety, a normal person. Now, please no one be insulted, okay? I mean, normal is relative, okay? But a lot of you tell me you want to be normal, which tells me you don't feel normal, okay? So usually someone who does not deal with anxiety, right? If they have stress or an event, right? And it makes them anxious. After that event passes, they're back to feeling normal. Are you with me so far? Does that make sense, right? But if you are a mom in the group, okay, and your anxiety started decades ago, years ago, months ago, weeks ago, okay, and you're still dealing with that same anxiety from years ago, months ago, weeks ago, okay, something has to be changed. You might need to get help. Now, being in this group, I try to support and give you information so that you can implement what I say. And, you know, this can be done if you on your own, if you have the right information, you have the support, you know, you can do it on your own. I know I did. The only difference, really, and I'm going to be truthful, is that working with me or another professional, let's say, I mean, I know the ins and outs, and I can help you get to the place maybe you want to be quicker, and it'll be a little bit easier because you don't have to do anything except just listen to what I say and implement. You know, you don't have to do the research. The research is there for you. I tell you step by step what to do. I listen to what you are experiencing, and I help you to understand how to make change and get transformation for your life. Just like any other professional who's trying to help you overcome anxiety should be doing. Okay? I mean, first of all, I can't prescribe pills, but I don't want you to, pills or medication is very temporary. Just like distraction is very temporary. So, I don't want to say stop doing temporary things. I wouldn't go that far, because sometimes we need to do temporary things to help us function until we finally overcome, right? So distraction, I took medication at first, right? We need to do, like even breathing, it can be a temporary thing that you do. Breathing helps you in the moment, right? So what becomes necessary, ladies, what this is really all about is making that change. I think I did 8. I don't know if anyone counted. I think I said 8 things, but what becomes necessary, ladies, is stop doing certain things that are keeping you in that anxiety cycle, that are keeping you in fight or flight. Do things that you're going to get a different response, and you're going to be different with the anxiety. Is that making sense? Did that just make sense? Because when you do that, you will overcome anxiety. You will see anxiety in a different light, that when you do feel it, you know exactly what it means. You don't become afraid of it. You change your relationship with it. You don't fight it, right? And when you're stressed out and things happen in your life, you know not to focus on it with such negativity. Maybe find the good in what's going on. And when you catch yourself avoiding, right, you know to face the fear and not to run from the fear and give in to the fear. Kind of, Abby? What do you mean by kind of? I'm sorry. I asked the question, but I'm not sure what kind of means. Can you just, what does kind of mean so I can help you? No, I see. Okay. All right. Good. I'm glad. So, you know, and everybody is different, ladies. You know, some of you may listen to this live and be like, oh, I get it, and start practicing this, and maybe you'll be free of anxiety within, you know, a week, weeks, months. I mean, I don't know. And some of you might still be like, but all this is hard, you know, and all of this, I can't do this on my own. And, you know, you have to catch yourself being negative. You have to catch yourself avoiding. You have to be aware of these anxiety behaviors and that you're keeping yourself in the anxiety cycle. Your goal is to calm the central nervous system. Your goal is to change a response, a stress response. Because right now your stress response is anxiety. So those were my 8 things that you need to stop doing, okay? So you can finally be free of anxiety. I can't think of anything else right now. Maybe something will pop up. I don't know. But I had 6. I went to 8. But the one thing I want to say, ladies, the one thing I want to say is remember that anxiety is energy, okay? When you feel those symptoms in your body, okay, this is like a pro tip, all right? A little extra for those who stayed behind and didn't jump off, who stayed to the end. When you feel that anxious energy in your body, the worst thing you can do is sit still. Now, you've heard me say when you feel symptoms to sit with them. Ladies, I'm not literal. I don't mean to just sit still in a chair and be like, okay, my heart's coming out of my chest. I'm feeling it, I'm feeling it. Oh boy, you know, I don't mean sitting with it does not mean do nothing, okay? I mean, when I mean by sitting, okay, actually all right, I want to retract a little bit. When you feel, let's say your heart's pumping, okay, I want you to acknowledge the symptom. There goes my heart pumping. Now, you may not, if you don't know if it's anxiety or not, then you need to probably go to a doctor and get confirmation that your heart's okay. Because I know how this goes. Until you know your fast beating heart is anxiety and you're convinced of it, you're going to keep telling yourself you're having a heart attack or something's wrong with your heart. Or so when you know your fast beating heart is just a symptom of anxiety, you can sit with it, meaning you just, this is my heart beating, it's just anxiety. If I am negative about it, it's going to keep going, right? Have that awareness, right? Talk yourself through it. Sit with the feeling, but you're not really doing, I mean, you might want to breathe, right? You might want to do a little breathing, but I'm going to just take a deep breath. I'm going to get really present, right? I'm going to watch my self-talk, right? All the things I told you to avoid. Now, this is the opposite, right? I'm not going to be fearful of this because this is just anxiety. It's just a response. And if I be different, I'll get different. So when I say changing your energy, okay, by sitting with the thoughts and the feelings, okay, I just mean acknowledging, accepting, and doing, and like adapting, making a change. So go for a walk. Take action. Going into bed, sitting on the couch is not taking action. As a matter of fact, you're going to prolong this if you stay in bed. You're going to prolong this if you sit on the couch. They're just feelings you feel due to stress chemicals in your body. The more you move, the more those stress chemicals will be released from your body. Okay? The quicker they will be released. That is why I'm always saying, like I always say, exercise is my antidepressant. I will go work out as soon as like anything negative comes into my body. I'm just like moving. I'm not going to say I do a major workout. I mean, I do, but not all the time. Like if I just go for a walk, I'll stop dead in the tracks and do some jumping jacks or anything to change my energy. So movement and the way you think will change your energy. So with that said, anybody have questions? And if you just came on, ladies, I gave 8 things to stop doing, okay? So that you can start feeling free from anxiety, come out of that anxiety cycle that you're in. But does anybody have any questions about anything that I said? And if you just came on, please watch the replay that will be available for 30 days, and then I will upload it to YouTube. No questions, ladies? Anybody have a question? I'll give you like a couple seconds to type, but otherwise, ladies, I understand some of the things I said. I know it'll be hard, or you're gonna say better said, hard to do, but it's necessary, and the quicker you take action, the quicker you're gonna overcome this. I don't see any questions. So, ladies, rewatch this. The more you rewatch these live trainings I do and you implement the things I say, you are going to see change. Okay? To see change, you have to make change. All right? And if you find it hard, you need the support, you need the accountability, you need someone to really take your hand and help you, contact me, and I can help you. All right? We will work together to get this done because nobody has to stay anxious. All right, ladies, since there's no questions, I'm going to go. Be well, take care, and I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful weekend, ladies. Bye.